Today, I'm going to explain the previous class. Actually, the programmatical how we can implement that all those operators. So in the previous class, we discussed about the operator, how operator uh, play an important role while we are doing or we are writing any program. So in practical, we can understand all those operators, how it will perform. So let me create one project. Entry point. What we can do. So first of all, we can start with the arithmetic operator. So arithmetic operator generally provides plus, minus, divide, subtract, like that kind of a things. So it's not required to every time to declare some kind of a operand and then assign some value, and then you can apply the operator and then calculate the result. So if you can write console.write line, and in the right line we can directly put some value using that operator. It will give us the result, whatever the result it is, based on that operator value. Here this plus is not considered as a concatenation operator. If I execute this program, see the result is there, 7. Similarly, the first operator, previous class we discussed about the basic assignment operator. So in the assignment operator, what we have a equal sign. So as we know, whatever the value of any kind of operand, if you want to assign some value, so suppose there is a value a, and if you want to assign something to that variable a, then you have to use equal sign than the value that you want to assign to that particular variable. So this equal sign is always performed as an assignment operator, basic assignment operator. So when this kind of syntax is there, and if you want try to execute the value of that a, it will comfortably display that value, because the assignment operator will assign that 5 to a, and now the 5 is holding that value of a. So you can rerun it, the program. See, the result is 5. So in C#, this equal sign is considered as a assignment operator. Similarly, the second operator is arithmetic operator. You can perform plus, minus, divide, percentage. So if you want to do some, so there is a plus, minus, there is a multiply, divide, make it possible. Then so now if you execute, see the result is there. Okay, so this is an example how we can use operator, arithmetic operator, and assignment operator. Similarly, we have a relational operator. So relational operator, we are using equals to, less than, greater than, and it always return a true or false if that condition satisfy, and it will always apply between two operands. So it can't this operator can't apply on a single operand. Single operand, it means whenever you have a value of a, suppose this is a value of a, so only this is a single operand. So in that operand, we are not able to use that relational operator. We should have always two operand, like b equals to 6, like that. And now if you want to apply some kind of a relational operator, you can apply. So a equals to b, it's comparing that two value a and b, is that value is equals or not. If it equal, it will return true, otherwise return false. See, the value is not equal, that's why it is returning false. The second one is a greater than b, it's not greater than, so it's turning false. Less than b, yes, b is greater than a, that's why it's returning true. Similar, line number 25, a greater than equals to, no, false. a less than equals to, correct, less than is correct, so it's returning true. So like that relational operator we can perform between always between two operands. This is a is a operand in programmatical language, we can say. The next operator is a logical. Generally we are using and or operator, and it's applied uh, when we are performing some kind of a conditional. So for instance, less than b but b less than a, or I am using here the or operator. So that two symbols basically we are using for and or. So let's run that program. So here is the result, line number 28. So line number 28 returning true because it satisfies the conditions a less than b, that is true, and b greater than a, that is also true. So the or operator and operator will always state that if the first condition is true, then the second condition is mandatory to true. Otherwise, it always return false. But in the or conditions, if one condition is true, it's not going to check the another condition. If this condition become false, then it will move to the second condition to check. So this is the behavior of and or operator. If you can see, both and or operator returning true value because the first conditions of or operator is returning true. So that's why the compiler will not check for the second condition. It only, if the first condition gets satisfied, it will not check the second condition. If that first condition get false, then it will check for the second condition, is that second condition is also false or not, or it's also true or not. So that kind of behavior is between and or operator. Okay. Similarly, we can perform unary operator as well. So unary operator, nothing like a kind of a symbol where we can apply increment, decrement, not equals to, and that unary operator we can apply on a single operand also. Single operand means on a particular one variable also. So for instance, if you want to increment or decrement some value, so we can use like that. Suppose I want to show a value, but after increment. So I simply use a plus plus, and then I want to display the value of a after one increment. Plus plus, it means it's similar like a equals to a plus 1, like that. So this is the explanation form of this statement. So it always increment by 1. So a plus plus, and then I want to display that value, then a minus minus, and then we want to display that value. So in increment, there is two types of process. One is a pre-increment, or another one is a post-increment. So this is a post-increment. After whatever the value in the A, then after increment will apply. After the value of A, then the decrement will apply. So this is a post-increment, I can say. If we use pre-increment, that means before displaying the value, we want to decrement first, increment first, and then want to display that value. So decrement first and then the value, and then want to display the value. So in this way, we can decide how we can increment or decrement the value. Either we can go with the post or pre. In the post, you can see there is a value of a having a variable and a having a value of 5. So that 5 is incremented, then we will display that value that it returns 6. Let me compare again. Now in the second line number 33, a having a value of 5, and then after it decrement, it's decrement by 1. So that 6 decrement by 1 is 5. Because that variable is same, variable is not going to change. So in the line number 31, it got increment by 1, and the line number 33, it's decrement by 1. So it's line number 32, it's 6, becomes 6, but in line number 33, it's decrement by 1, that's it's returning 5. Similarly, so that's why it is a post or increment or decrement. So after the value, we will increment that value. But in line number 36, we are incrementing first and then assigning the value. So line number 36 is, you can see, we just increment first and then whatever the value is this, we can use. So after line number 33, the value of A is 5. So now it's 6. But line number 38, it's decrement by 1. So it's again, the value of A is 5.
Okay, so we can use this in the looping and all, right?
Correct. So whenever
Yeah.
the condition satisfy, we can decide at how many times that loop goes into
Yeah.
that process.
Yeah, okay.
So that pre and post, you can decide as per your logic and requirement.
Correct.
So if you understood, and then they will ask you a generic questions. For example, for identification purpose, I wrote this line so that you can identify and verify the result. So as per the understanding, what will be the output of C? And as per the understanding, what will be the output of this line, and this line? So as we know, this is the post increment. So that console or write line always return the first value that currently having into that variable C. After that, they gone for the increment purpose. So in this line, we
5.
expect the result is 4 instead of 5. In next line, we expect the result is increment first and then use that variable value. So now in this line, we expect result is 5. This is our understanding. And in this line, it decrement first and then use that value C. So in this time, it return 4. And here we can use that value, so it returns 4 instead of 3. What's your thought in here, Daniel? Any changes do you feel? No changes?
Sorry, are you asking me any question?
I'm just asking, and this is my understanding. As per my understanding, I just wrote the output. Do you want to change anything? Any?
No, why
other
this is
output?
first one is 4.
So as per your understanding, it should be 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other change?
Then if it is decreasing here, it should be 4. The next one. And oh, this is
3.
This is plus plus, right? Increment.
This is a minus here.
So minus should be here, should be 3.
So here it should be 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here it should be 5.
5. Okay.
And C. Now this is in C5 and minus 4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's see in the compiler how compiler will understand these lines. See, the output will be the first line, it returns the 4. Why it's returning 4? So as I told you, this is the pre and post increment. So this is a post increment, correct? So in the post increment, let me open the output here. So this is the post increment, and in the post increment, the console write line will display the value of C first, and then after compiler will go for the increment of that particular C value. So that's why in the first line, in line number 44, it's returning 4. Okay. Got it. That line number 44, you can understood that why it's returning C 4 instead of 5. Daniel?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got
So,
you got that point? Why it's returning
yeah.
4?
So here, first one is 4, and then 2 increments.
Mhm.
come-
So
Okay.
the first one is 4. Then after there is a one increment. So in the first line, so when that console or write line try to print the value of C and then plus plus, so there is a two step. First of all, console write line will pick the value of C and it's trying to display the value. So it's displaying the value is 4. But
Yeah.
after the next step, it got incremented. So it incremented after, then it becomes 5.
5.
But it's displaying the value of 4 because that console write line is already performed. Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
But in
Yeah.
the memory, the C value got changed.
Yeah.
So in the next line, C value having increment, right? So first,
Yes.
the first step, it got incremented. So it incremented,
Yeah.
then the value displayed, the display value is 6, correct?
6.
Because in the memory, the value of C is 5. So it got incremented by 1, it's 6. But
Yeah.
still that value is not changed. Now in the memory, the value is still having a 6 in memory, right?
Yeah.
So in the next line, because we are decrementing first, so when the console to write line try to display the value of C, so it decremented first. So now
Yes.
the C value, we are
Is 5.
displaying 5, but in memory, the memory its value of 5 only, right?
5 only. In the next, it will be 4. Yeah.
Correct. So
It is
now,
changed, but in the
yeah, now we
memory,
are displaying the value of C. So first, what we get from the memory? In the memory, we get C having a 5 value, but
5.
the
5.
next step it got incremented, sorry, decremented, so it become 4. If
Yeah.
if we try to run a same console to write line and try to print the value of C, so in this line we got the value of C is 4 instead of 5, correct?
Yeah.
So this way that post and pre increment will perform actually.
Okay. Now it's clear.
Okay. So these are the actually operator that mostly useful, and throughout the programming development cycle we are using these operator mostly. So that's why I introduce and explain you these 5 types of operator. Okay. Now we can understand the next part. The next part is let me take another project. So new project or .NET framework. Now we use control statement. Okay. So in C#, provide the control statement how you can control your program. In this entry point, we have a feasibility to write anything, but you should have a control how to control your program at what time your program will get executed, at what condition your program get ended. So you have totally control on your program, on what condition this kind of a code section will get executed, this kind of a code section will not executed if that criteria will not meet. So that kind of a thing, or that kind of a logic, if you are trying to apply in your logic, then you should have some kind of a control statement need to be there, so that you can apply, and based on your conditions, your execution or your logic will get executed. So that control statement provided by C#. So there are in general 4 types of control statement. The first one is conditional, iteration statement, or in conditional we can also use switch statement as well. So we can merge these two in one, and after iteration we can use jump statement. So need to correct that. 3. So I can divide only 3 parts. So switch statement we can merge in the first line. So conditional statement and switch statement, the iteration statement, and the jump statement. So 3 that most useful statement we will use in the programming languages and control your logic. So first one is conditional statement. So in the conditional statement, mostly we are using if, else, nested if, or single if. So these are the conditional statement. And in a switch statement, there is a one switch case, where we can decide as per your choice what kind of a logic get executed based on the user input. So using this statement we can achieve this. And apart from that, the next one is iteration. The iteration statement we can use do while, next while, for each. So these are the iteration statement. Iteration statement, nothing, it's a loop. We want to execute some kind of a code in a loop until that condition will meet. So these are the criteria. We need to execute that section of code continuously. If the criteria will meet, then we will get out that particular condition. So that kind of a logic we want to write. So that means there is a need of looping, so that the process will continuously run until that condition will meet. So for that kind of operation or logic, we use iteration statement. So we can use do while, we can use while, for and each and every iteration statement having its own functionality, own way of implementation. So next one is jump statements. So in jump statement, we can generally use break, continue, return, and go to. These are generally we are using in a jump statement. Jump statement is nothing, it's decide from which line the code get executed, and after that line, which line need to be executed. So based on that statement, we can decide and we can execute the code based on that specified jump statement. So these are the most useful statement that we use in our programming language. So for instance, we can use conditional statement. So conditional statement, nothing, it's just if else. So conditional statement always expect a name of that or I can say a statement. So that is a if is a keyword that we can use to apply condition, and that in this between that parenthesis we can apply the condition or what conditions that if a statement need to be executed. So for that conditions we need to have some kind of a value or variable, right? So we need to declare some variable int a comma b comma c. See, so there is a 3 variable. Now I want to take the input of these 3 variable from the user. So I just wrote the line here, enter the value of, sorry, the 3 value. Any question? Okay. So I just inform user, please enter the 3 value, and that 3 value we are assigning into that a, and in a we are using convert dot to int 32 and console dot read line, because we are getting the value from console dot read line. Similarly, we are getting a value of b and c. So now change the value of a to b and this a to c. So that 3 value we are receiving from the user. Or after that value, we are applying some conditions and we are trying to find. So the logic is find the greatest value from the input. So the logic we are trying to write is we want to find the greatest value among these 3 numbers, whatever the value input by the user. So that kind of a logic we are trying to write. So first of all, we get the 3 value from the user, and after that I am trying to apply that conditions. So if a greater than equals to b, and then we are applying the logical operator, and a greater than equals to c, that means it indicated that console or write line. So it indicated a is greater. In a similar case, we will check again. And here we can use if, nested if, not nested if and else also, or else if also. It totally depends on your logic. If we use if, it means it will start from here and it will execute each and every conditions every